Welcome back to SABA Flix video tricks, where we help you turn boring recordings into engaging videos. Today's episode is going to be talking about how to do basic edits such as splicing and cutting the video and audio and making the audio sound better. In our next episode, we're going to be talking about a bit more of the colors and the color grade. So if you're interested in that, go to the next episode. But this, we're going to talk about basic edits just to kind of increase the pacing, increase the speed at which your videos progress to make it where there's not too many empty spaces, if any. So starting up here, you'll see that we have three different videos. So this is because I'm screen recording with OBS. I am recording from the camera, and then I am also recording through Logic Pro. So over here, you can see that they aren't in sync. If I go right here, you can see the audio waveforms are 3 claps. And this is something you can do, by the way, if you're recording. Just clap 3 times if you're gonna have multiple sources recording similar or the same thing. This does allow for a little bit easier matching of audio. As you can see, those huge spikes. I just put the line right on the spike, and then I adjust these accordingly so that it lines up on all of them. It might not line up perfectly on all of them, but the idea is to get it close enough so that there isn't a delay between the video and the audio, because if that happens, then it makes it just where it kind of throws people off. They kind of stop listening to what you're saying, at least in my personal experience. So after I do this, I'm going to just listen back and make sure that there isn't like a bunch of echoes, and if there is, I'm going to adjust it as needed. Hello and welcome to SABA Flix video tricks, where we help you turn boring recordings into engaging videos. So what I'm doing right here is I am zooming in just so I can see a bit more. So it sounded great to me, but if you look here, it's not perfect. Now with audio, you can kind of do it in between. You can kind of adjust the audio in between frames, but videos you can only move frame by frame. So this is 24 frames per second. You can only move it 1/24th of a second either way on the video scale. And this right here, where it is right now, is much closer than if I move it 1 frame back. The audio, I can line up perfectly, or I can line up right between them, which is not what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to line it up with the video of me talking, because this video right here doesn't have any record or does not have a face cam. It's not me talking personally, so it doesn't matter if it doesn't sync up perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the audio for this camera, just because it's not using a great microphone in the first place. Now I'm going to find where the video actually starts right here. I'm going to press Ctrl A to select everything, and I'm going to press Ctrl B in order to cut this whole entire section off. Now that this is here, I'm just going to press delete, and it will get rid of everything there. And so it will be starting at the very beginning of the video. So if I press play right now. Hello and welcome to SABA Flix video tricks, where we help you turn boring recordings into engaging videos. So you can see the audio is pretty similar there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to turn this audio off just so that it's easier and I can work on this one specifically, this audio channel by itself. So I think it sounds good. It honestly does. This microphone, the Shure SM7B, is a really good microphone in of itself. But you can always have some improvement. So first off, it's a little bit quiet. So I'm just going to boost the audio by a few decibels. You can see that the audio waveform is blue, yellow, and red. You don't want too much red, and you can see right here as well. You don't want too much red, otherwise it's going to be peaking a lot. So I'm personally going to just get it right here. You can see there's a tiny bit of red right there. But then I'm going to go ahead and press loudness. This brings a lot of the audio up into the yellow, which is more so where you want. Yellow and blue is where you want, but yellow as more of the peaks. Now let's listen back. Hello and welcome to SABA Flix video tricks, where we help you turn boring recordings into engaging videos. So what you can see here, or hear here, is that there's a little bit of background noise, that's kind of like a little hissing, and that's because first off, the microphone isn't as quiet as it could be with how I'd have it set up right now. I could lower the volume honestly, but I wanted to be able to pick up my voice clearly. So I'm going to do is I'm going to have some voice isolation, but not too much. I'm going to start with 20 1% just to kind of see how that sounds. Somebody else hasn't already used the computer and edited something on here, there's going to be nothing in this media pool, which is this area right here. So that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and put some noise removal as well. Let me show you how it sounds if I put a lot of noise removal. Then within your Finder, look for the videos that you're going to use. So here I'd be in SABA Flix video tricks. It is very it doesn't sound particularly great. But if I put a tiny bit. Hello and welcome to organized right now, just because I haven't finished the project. Usually I organize my files once I'm done. I personally think voice isolation sounds a lot better. Noise removal just kind of harshly cuts this stuff out, and it just makes your voice sound a bit weird. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the EQ. Now with the Shure SM7B, it will definitely get a lot more of those low ends in your voice. So when you're doing it, you might want to go ahead and just, but there are two ways that you can import footage into Final Cut. Overall, it's going to come down to the fact of how does it sound to you. But there are some, let's see, headphones that are cheap, and maybe they're not cheap, but they're bass boosted. So they have a lot more lower frequencies. That's going to kind of distort how it sounds. So what you want to do is listen to it from multiple different devices if possible. And if not, try to get the most neutral sounding headphones as you can so that you can get the best understanding of how the whole entire video is going to sound. Alright, so I made some changes to the EQ and I think it sounds a little better. I don't want to make a bunch of changes because it already sounds good, but just a few things to kind of boost the presence in the voice. So I like how it sounds. You can see I also adjusted the loudness. I lowered it a bit because I felt like there were parts where it peaked too much, where it like kind of just got too loud. And because of that, I am going to just increase the volume a bit, but not a lot, just enough that it stays in yellows. So now that that's done, and if I listen back. Hello and welcome to SABA Flix Video Tricks, where we help you turn boring recordings into engaging videos. So right here, there is a break in what I'm talking about, and also I'm starting to talk about the screen. So starting right here, right here, I'm talking about what's on the screen, but it is not showing up. So if I go ahead and remove this, you can see that there's just a screen by itself. A little boring if I start to talk about something else or something somebody already knows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually keep this here, and all I'm going to do is after this cut right here that I made, I'm just going to go ahead and scale it down and move it over to a corner. Usually a corner is good. Sometimes you might want to put it just on the edge instead of a corner, but overall just find the spot where it works and is not blocking what you're currently showing. So right here, what you can do is you can use icons to enhance what they're looking at so that it's a little bit more interesting. So right here, I'm just going to go ahead and search arrow and to see if anything pops up. Doesn't look like anything will. So what I'm going to go ahead and look for is these motion graphics and to see if there's an arrow or something I can use. Right here, there is an arrow, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. And if you don't have these preset effects and stuff like that, then what you can do is just simply find a PNG image or make a PNG image of an arrow and use that as something. Just pop it up and point it at what you're talking about. This area right here. Which is here. There. Not just, so right here where there's this empty spot where you can see that there's not much being done except you go to Finder, is I am going to go ahead and press Control A just like everything. Then go ahead and press Control B just in order to slice everything so that this empty spot is not going to be there. Now I could go ahead, delete, but instead I'm going to just press this, which is the timeline, and I'm going to go ahead and press delete just once and everything is gone. So what you'll find here is that I made a mistake in what I was talking about in my presentation. So Final Cut is a program on Mac. I'm specifically teaching on how to use it on Mac, but here I mentioned File Explorer, which is a Windows file system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut this part out, and so you're going to look for that. If you make a mistake, don't worry, just make a cut. It may be obvious, but it's better than rambling on for about 30 seconds. One other thing is that you can look for notes taken in your video. So for instance, right around here, I say I'm probably going to be spending a little while. I'm gonna probably cut this out to this specific spot I need to find. So right there, that's kind of a personal note for while I'm editing. Find the spot where I pick up again and just cut till there. There's nothing of use going to be in this area here. So if I can cut that out, and it's going to look like another cut. All right, so I've found the project. Organize my files once I'm done. So I've found the project file. So for something like this where it's a bit different, I'm probably going to actually reset this because it's been on this one camera spot for a while. So I'm going to speak into the camera here. It's only 51 seconds in, but it's good to change stuff up to keep it engaging. All right, so I've found the project file. It is this file here. And that was just a quick switch up. I don't need a really big switch, just little things to keep it interesting. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this to the bottom left instead, kind of to be different from how it's been. All right, so I've found the project file. It is this file here. So I said project file, but that doesn't matter too much. It's the file I'm using for the project. So I go on a little ramble here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. So I've mentioned the cutting, Control A, then Control B to cut different parts of the video. But if you just want to use a hotkey and just cut a bunch of stuff, then you can just press B. If you press B, it will use the scissor tool. Not my personal favorite, but some people prefer it. So you can just go ahead and select, click all the parts you want cut, and you can see that there's this little red line. If you just feel like, oh yeah, there's this audio obviously here, just cut it like that. I personally don't like to do it that way, but to each their own. If I press A, it goes back to the selector tool. Alright, so I've cut it up how I like it, and it is all looking good. So this is the process of editing, just the cutting part of it to keep things paced a little faster and a little bit smoother. If you want to learn more about adding music or adding sound effects or color grading, keep on watching. Those will be upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.